If you're new to this class or new to yoga, no sweat. I don't just expect people to know what poses are simply by the name. So I try to call out the pose before we get there for those of us who might know the pose by the name. But then I will build us up into a pose. We talk about alignment so everyone can get where we need to go. We start with a slow warm up. We'll target the areas of the body that we're going to use later in the class. We do pick up the speed, pick up the heart rate. We're moving around a bit more on our mat. And then we end with a cool down and a final rest period where we lay on our back still for about 2 to 3 minutes with our eyes closed. And we give some time for self-reflection. And not only that, our body is absorbing the benefits of all the movements we put it through during this class. I always like to say that is the most important part of the class because yoga is not just about what we do in our physical body, it's about what goes on the inside as well. So it's a very critical part of your practice to sort of bring everything home. Always listen to your body throughout the practice. Take breaks if you need to. You don't have to wait for me to cue to take a break. You can always jump back in when you're ready, and always check with the doctor before you start a new exercise plan. If you prefer to practice with music, it's hard for me to do so with the pre-recorded classes, but feel free to pause the video, put on whatever playlist you like. It doesn't have to be meditation music, whatever you like, and then join me back when you're ready. So today we're going to get started in a seated position, and you're going to be facing the front of your mat. So any comfortable seated position will do to start. For me, that's legs in a cross shape, but you can use a loose diamond shape with the bottoms of the feet facing each other, or maybe legs off to the side. Any comfortable position where you can ground your sits bones into the floor and find some length out through the spine. And just tilt your head down towards your chest, gaze at the floor, relax shoulders away from the ears, and start to deepen your breath. Starting to breathe in through the nose and exhaling out through mouth. Maybe taking a second to just close the eyes and draw the attention to yourself. A few more rounds of breath just like this. Go ahead and resume your normal pattern of breath. Lift your chin from the chest so that you can look forward. Let your head fall over to the right shoulder, starting with loosening the muscles around the neck. Keep those shoulders relaxed down the back. And if at any time you're more than welcome to close your eyes during the practice, I find myself doing it quite often. Lift your head through center and then let head fall over to left shoulder and hold here. Spine stays long, and deepen the breath just a little. Lift your head through center, drop chin to chest, holding here. Maybe feeling the stretch going down the back a little. Then lift your head and tilt your chin up towards the ceiling, opening the front side of the neck and the throat. And head comes through center. Again, we'll drop our chin down towards the chest. And then making just some half circles, we'll let our heads roll shoulder to shoulder. So we're not rolling all the way around. Just a half circle, head roll shoulder to shoulder. If you find a place that feels a little tight, you can hang out there for a little bit. Lift your chin to chest. Then tilt your chin up towards the ceiling. And we're going to make those little half circles again going around the back. Don't just let your head hang heavy. Give a little resistance. Drawing some half circles with the back of the head now. And then head lifts through center. Lift both arms overhead, find length through the sides of the body, shoulders relaxed away from ear, stretching out through the crown of the head. Take a few breaths here and engage your core, tucking the low ribs in and drawing the belly close to spine. Bend the elbows and send the hands behind you, working with the shoulders a bit. Then lift arms back overhead, bring hands together and down through heart center. Same thing, arms rise up. If you'd like a little more sensation for your shoulders and you're not feeling tight here, you can bring the palms together. And then as we bend the elbows, palms stay together, elbows pointing up towards the ceiling. Arms straighten and hands come down through heart center. One more time. Inhale as arms come up. Exhale as elbows bend. Inhale to straighten the arms. Exhale, hands to heart center. Place your fingertips at your sides. And we'll spinal twist to the right, twisting from the belly, bringing left hand directly in front, right hand directly behind you, gazing to the back of the mat. Spine stays long and core is still engaged. Use your exhale to unwind and return to face forward. And we'll spinal twist opposite direction, right hand directly in front. Using your exhale to unwind and come through center. And meet me in a tabletop position on your hands and your knees, wrists stacked under shoulders and knees stacked under the hips. Extend your right leg behind you, heel in line with hip, toes facing down towards the floor. Then extend your left arm forward into sunbird, thumb facing up towards the ceiling, arm near the ear, gaze is down towards the floor. We're going to hold here, don't hold the breath. Not only are we strengthening our core, but we're working on our balance as well. Bring just the hand down to the mat and lift up to the tips of the fingers. Point through the right toes and give me a tabletop crunch. Drawing knee to your chest, rounding the spine, lifting the belly in, then stepping or placing your foot into lunge in between the hands, ankle below knee. Lift both arms overhead, deep breath in through the nose, find length on sides of the body. As we exhale, fingertips come back down to the floor. 2 more times, inhaling, lifting arms overhead. Exhaling, fingertips to floor. Nice slow movement like we're moving through water. Deep breath in, lifting both arms up. Exhale out the mouth, fingertips to floor. Tuck the left toes onto the mat if they're not already, and scoot the left knee back just an inch or 2. Send the hips to the back of the mat so we can straighten the forward leg or start to straighten into half split. Fingertips walk back and foot is flexed. The leg does not have to straighten completely. You can put a soft bend in the knee for some ease. Spine stays long, chest sends forward. Opening up, relieving stiffness in the legs here. Meet me back and lunge, knee stacks over the ankle. Then hand comes to the inside, so right hand to the inside, and we'll heel toe the right foot out to the outer edge of the mat to open up the hip, stacking the knee over the ankle. We're going to make some gentle circles here if you're comfortable doing so. Hips are rolling around, and we'll go both directions as we open the hip. Meet me back in a lunge position, foot in between the hands, then step back in a tabletop. And you might need to adjust your knees so they're stacked back underneath the hips. Hands flat to mat. Left leg extends behind you, toes facing down towards the floor, gaze is to the floor. Right arm extends forward into sunbird, thumb up to ceiling, and we're holding here, not holding the breath. No worries if you're wobbling or shaking. You know that your body's working. Balance will become better. Bring just the hand down to the mat and lift up to the tips of the fingers, then point through the left toes. Give me a tabletop crunch around the spine, lift that knee high, draw belly in, step or place the foot into lunge. Draw the breath in through your nose, lifting arms overhead, nice slow movement. Fill the chest up with breath. Exhale out through the mouth, fingertips return to the mat. 2 more times, slow, deep inhale, lifting arms overhead. Slow exhale, fingertips to floor. Last time, breath in. And breath out. Fingertips down. Right toes are tucked onto the mat. We'll scoot that knee back just a few inches. And we'll settle into half split, sending the hips to the back of the mat, starting to straighten the forward leg, flexing the foot, and lengthening the spine. Listen to your body, slight bend in the knee if you need a little ease, don't push yourself. And we return to lunge, knee stacked over the ankle. Left hand comes to the inside, we'll heel toe that foot out to the outer edge of the mat. Send the chest forward and start to make some gentle circles as we open the hip. Hanging out here for a moment or two, making sure to go both directions. Then meet me back in lunge, foot is in between the hands, and step back into tabletop, knees under hips. Round the spine to cat pose, tuck chin to chest, draw belly in, then lift and arch the spine into cow, gazing up towards the ceiling. Again, rounding the spine into cat, drawing belly in, then lifting and arching, letting belly hang to the floor. One more time, exhaling to cat pose. Inhaling to cow pose. And returning to a tabletop position. Lower to puppy pose, bringing elbows down to the mat, stacked under shoulders, palms face down to floor, and head relaxes. Take a deep breath or two here. This pose here is option 1 for your rest position anytime during the class. Option 2 is to settle all the way to child's pose, bringing the toes to touch, sending hips all the way to the heels, and resting forehead to mat. Child pose requires a little more flexibility in the hips and in the knees. So choose one that's better comfortable for you or best comfortable for you. Take a few deep breaths and appreciate this moment of stillness to finish our warm up. Bring your attention to your thoughts and your breath. As you inhale, slowly meet me back in a tabletop position. Spread your fingers nice and wide and bring attention to your hands, noticing where you're distributing the weight. Most of us press just into the base of the palm. So I'm going to ask you to spread that weight out to the top of the palm as well, pressing mostly into the pointer finger and the thumb, but include the other fingers as well and tuck toes onto mat. If you're familiar with down dog, go ahead and lift the hips now. Otherwise, we're going to take it in parts. Start by drawing the knees off the mat, keeping the knees bent and the pressure in the hands. Move nice and slow so weight still stays in the hands as you send the hips up to the ceiling, bringing belly back towards your thighs, gazing in between the feet. Bring that attention back to your hands. Make sure you're distributing the weight. And take a few breaths here. Stretching the legs in down dog is secondary, so knees can stay bent for now. We'll give you some options to amp things up a bit later in the practice. Take a deep breath or two. Everyone look forward, start to shift the weight forward and step or place your right foot into lunge, ankle below the knee. Lifting up to the tips of the fingers, sending chest forward. Step up to half lift, feet are hips width distance apart, back is flat, hands to shins. Draw the shoulders away from the ears as you gaze down towards the mat. Lower to forward fold, so bend the knees so that belly can touch the thighs. Let arms and head hang heavy towards the floor. Low belly draws in here as hips reach for the sky. Crown of the head reaches towards the floor. One vertebrae at a time, we'll round our spines up to a standing position. Take your time And let your chin come up from your chest last. Bring both arms up overhead, gaze up to the ceiling. And lower to forward fold, bringing palms together, lowering them down through heart center, hinging forward at the hips, bringing belly back towards the thighs, letting crown of head reach towards the floor. Bend the knees if you need to. Rise to half lift, flatten your back, hands to shins, and step into a plank position. Bend the knees so you can step back into a traditional plank and lower to tabletop, knees to mat. Find chaturanga by leaning forward, shoulders past the wrist, bending the elbows, keeping them close to the body as you lower chest down to mat first, and then the hips, tops of feet to mat, hands under shoulders. Lift the chest to baby cobra, using the strength of your core, not pressing into the mat, shoulders wrap behind the heart. Then press to your chosen rest position, whether that's puppy pose, elbows to mat, or child's pose, hips to heels. And take a breath or two here. For the first part of the class, each of these rest periods will get a little shorter each time. So appreciate the stillness, deep in the breath, bring attention to your breath. Giving recognition that your breath is a life force to your body. Appreciate. Then inhale as you slowly meet me back in tabletop, spreading fingers wide, tucking toes onto mat, and lifting hips to down dog. Knees lift first, hips go up to the ceiling, belly presses back towards the thighs for nice long spines. Gaze between the feet, and take some breaths. So if you have knees bent and you'd like a little more sensation in the legs, try straightening one leg at a time and pressing the heel down to the mat. And then switching and doing the same on the opposite side. So everyone is welcome to work here, bending one knee and then the other, helping to loosen up stiffness in the legs. Look forward, shift the weight forward, step or place your foot into lunge, lifting up to tips of fingers. Step up to half lift, feet together, hands to shins. Lower to fold, belly drops down to thighs, head hangs heavy, and we'll round our spines up one vertebrae at a time. Chin comes up last. Once you make it up to standing, bring arms back up overhead. Same thing, finding forward fold, hands come together, down through heart center, belly to thighs, head reaches to the floor. Rise to half lift, flatten your back. And step into your plank position before lowering to tabletop, knees to mat. Lean forward for chaturanga, bending the elbows, keep them close to the body, bring your body all the way flat to the mat. Use your core to lift your chest, shoulder blades reach to touch, and press to your rest position, taking a breath or two here. Remember, these rests are getting a little shorter. Nice full breaths here. Inhale as you meet me back in tabletop. Exhale to find down dog, sending hips up to the ceiling, belly back to thighs. So it's up to you what you're choosing to do with the legs. Knees can stay bent. You can pedal the feet. You can try straightening both legs, pressing heels to the floor. But if you notice you lose any length in your spine and it starts to round, take a step back. Legs are secondary in this stretch. They're not as important as a long spine. Look forward, stepping or placing right foot into lunge, lifting up to tips of fingers. Step up to half lift, flatten your back. Lower to fold, belly meets thighs. And slowly rise up to standing. We're going to take that one more time through, slowly lifting arms overhead as you breathe in through nose. Exhaling out through mouth to lower to forward fold, belly meets thighs. Inhaling half lift, flatten your back. Exhale as you step back into plank and lower to tabletop. Take a nice deep breath in your tabletop position. As you exhale, find chaturanga. Keep elbows close to body and come all the way flat to your mat. Inhaling, lifting to baby cobra, shoulders behind heart, and exhaling to your rest position. We're not going to hold this time. So once you hit that rest position, rise right back to tabletop as you breathe in and exhale to downward facing dog, hips up to the ceiling. So we're trying to keep our heart rate up. Take a few breaths here. Look forward, step or place your left foot into lunge, lifting up to tips of fingers. Inhale as you step up to half lift and flatten your back. Exhale as you lower to fold, belly meets thighs. See if you can draw your inhale out as you slowly rise to standing. And then exhale at the top. Bring the hands behind the back and interlace the fingers. Shoulder blades reaching to touch. Relax shoulders down the back. Take a few breaths here, opening the front of the chest. Resist the urge to tilt your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Instead, send your tailbone long to the floor. Let the opening come from the upper chest. If you want some more sensation in the shoulders, try straightening the arms and pressing the palms together. From here, lower to forward fold. Bend the knees, drop belly to thighs, and arms reach up to the ceiling. If reaching the arms up creates too much sensation in the shoulders, interlaced hands can stay towards the back. Then release your arms so they can hang towards the floor and rise to half lift. Step back in a plank and drop the knees to tabletop. Lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your left leg behind you, point through the toes, heel in line with hip, and give me a crunch. Knee to chest, round the spine, and step or place the foot into lunge. Right toes tuck onto the mat. We'll lift that knee into the air as we lift up to pointer and middle finger. Bring the hands to the forward thigh and extend both arms overhead into high lunge. So left knee is stacked right over the ankle. We're on the ball of the right foot. Take some deep breaths into your chest here. And open to warrior two. So turn to face the right side of your mat. Right heel makes contact with the floor, lowering your arms to shoulder height. Take a look at your feet. Right foot should be facing towards the long edge of your mat. Left foot is facing forward. Knee is still stacked over the ankle. Hips and shoulders are also facing the long edge of your mat. Stand tall, straight towards the ceiling, and gaze out over left hand. Take some deep breaths into the chest here. And we'll take our hands behind our back. It's up to you whether you're going to leave the hands loose or press the palms together. Twist the chest so you're facing back towards the forward leg and lower to fallen warrior. So we're bringing the belly down towards the thighs. We're extending the arms up overhead. So chest is just off to the right of the forward leg. We'll rise back to warrior two, turning our chest towards the long edge of the mat and straighten the forward leg. Find reverse warrior, left arm coming up towards the ceiling, letting right arm hang. Return back to warrior two just for a moment, stacking knee over the ankle and windmill down to lunge, lifting right heel off the mat. Step back into your plank position and drop the knees to tabletop. Exhale to chaturanga, keeping elbows close to body, lowering flat to mat. Breathe in to lift the chest, baby cobra. And exhale to your chosen rest position. We will take a few moments of rest here, so deepen the breath. Recognizing that every time we exhale, we're releasing things that no longer serve us. As you inhale, return to your tabletop position and use your exhale to lift to downward facing dog. I know down dog can be a lot, especially for beginners, even for those of us who practice often, so you're more than welcome to skip any down dog and you can jump back into the practice whenever you're ready. Deepen the breath. Look forward and step your left foot into lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift, flat back. Exhale as you lower to fold, belly to thighs. And try to draw that inhale out as you slowly rise to standing. Hands come behind the back, opening the front of the chest. Take a few breaths here. Tailbone reaches long towards the floor. On your next exhale, lower to forward fold. Belly comes down, arms reach up towards the ceiling. Then release your hold, letting your arms hang heavy. Rising to half lift, flattening the back. Stepping into your plank position and meeting me in tabletop. Lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your right leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Give me a tabletop crunch right into lunge. Step that foot right on through. Tuck left toes onto mat, lift the knee, lift up to pointer and middle finger, sending chest forward. Hands come to the forward thigh, and arms extend overhead into high lunge. Take a few breaths here into the chest. Open a 5-pointed star facing the left side of the mat. Left heel makes contact with the floor and arms lower to shoulder height. This time, left foot is facing towards the long edge of your mat and right foot is facing forward. Gazing out over right hand. Then taking the hands behind the back, opening the front of the chest, then lowering to fallen warrior. Lowering down to the inside of the leg, sending arms up to the ceiling. Then we'll slowly rise back up, strengthening that forward leg, lifting our arms to shoulder height. Straighten the forward leg now, and find reverse warrior. Right arm comes up to the ceiling, opening the side of the body. Return to warrior 2 for a beat. Right knee stacks over ankle and windmill down to lunge. Left heel lifts off the mat. Step back to your plank position, lower knees to tabletop. And find chaturanga, come all the way down. Deep inhale, finding baby cobra, and slow exhale as you find your rest position. Taking a breath or two here. Inhale as you rise to tabletop position. Then exhale as you find down dog. Take a few breaths here. Maybe find a little bit of movement. And no movement's wrong. If you're choosing to find movement, just move freely, whatever your body needs. Hips can shift side to side, knees can bend. Whatever you feel in the moment. Step your right foot into lunge and inhale as you find half lift, flattening your back. Exhale as you lower to forward fold, belly touches the thighs. And draw your inhale out as you slowly rise to standing. Then exhale at the top. We've done a lot of opening in the chest today, so we're going to keep that up through our balancing postures next. We're going to take a dancer pose. We're going to start with our left leg as the standing leg. So ground that foot or root that foot down to the mat, lift the toes up, spread them wide, and plant them back down. Tiny micro bend in the standing leg. That way we're engaging the muscles and not relying on our joints to hold us up. Start by lifting your left arm up to the ceiling and engage your core. Belly back towards the spine. Bend the right knee and then reach down and grab your foot from the outside. At the ankle or on the foot will do, and draw the knees close together. We're going to start right here. If this is already a challenge to you, you can work here, just lowering the foot and lifting to the hand throughout the remainder of the exercise. If you've got a firm hold here, start by kicking into the hand and lifting the chest, gazing up towards the ceiling. Standing leg is nice and strong. Glute is active, core is active, allowing us to kick into the hand and open the front of the chest. If you want to take it a step further, start to fall forward, hinging at the hips. Keep kicking into the hand. Keep the arm lifted. Hips are squared towards the floor. Deep breath. Don't hold the breath here. If you fell forward, start to rise back up. And we'll all lower our arm and our foot down by our sides. We're going to switch. So all the weight's in the right foot. Do the same thing with the toes. Spread them wide. Tiny micro bend in the knee. Then right arm comes up to ceiling. Bend the left knee. Take a hold from the outside and draw the knees close together. Start by kicking into the hand and lifting the chest. Core is engaged. If you're taking it further, you're falling forward, still kicking into the hand, squaring hips towards the floor. Core is engaged. Nice deep breaths. If you fell forward, slowly start to rise up, and we'll all lower hands and leg down by our sides. Make sure you're standing at the top of your mat if you're not there already. Feet hips width distance apart. Stand nice and tall with purpose. Out through the crown of your head, palms face forward. Close your eyes for a moment and just focus on the breath. You can keep eyes closed for the next few moments if you choose. Draw the breath in and lift both arms overhead. On the exhale, lower to forward fold. So all previous poses we already know. Eyes can be closed if you're comfortable. Gently shift side to side. Swaying back and forth. And draw the inhale as you round the spine back to standing position. We're going to do that same thing through. If you're a little slower or faster, that's okay. Breathe in, lifting both arms overhead. Exhale to fold, belly meets the thighs. And we'll find a bit of a sway. Helping to lengthen the spine. Forward folds are good for reducing low back pain as long as you're being careful, keeping that belly nice and close to the thighs. Rise to half lift as you inhale and step back into a plank position. Eyes can open if they were closed. We're going to hold this plank for about 10 seconds here, but if you're tired, you're more than welcome to lower down to our belly now. We're all going to get there. We're holding for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All the way down to the mat. Turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Bring your arms along the sides of your body, palms face up. Big toes touch, heels fall away. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale, let everything go onto your mat. Taking a short rest here. Wiggling the shoulders away from the ears. And just let everything go onto your mat. Gently turn your head to the opposite side, taking a moment of stillness on this side as well. Bring your chin to the mat and place your hands underneath your shoulders to press yourself into your chosen rest position one last time, whether that's puppy pose or child's. Slowing down our practice, so we're slowing down our poses, slowing down the breath. Nice and slowly, make your way to a seated position in the center of your mat with your legs extended forward and feet flexed. I'll give everyone a moment. I know some of us move a little more slowly than others, especially as we're starting to slow our practice down. Once you're in your seated position, lift both arms overhead and drop chin to chest. Round your spine into rounded back stretch, dropping hands to the knees, thumbs on the inside, elbows facing out to the long edges of your mat. Melt the shoulders away from the ears and take some deep breaths. I know this pose can be a little uncomfortable for some of us. So just keep in mind that they say you are as young as your spine is flexible, especially if you're feeling some tight sensations. Deepen the breath. So we ask those muscles to let go of the tension that they're holding. Slowly find staff pose, lengthening the spine up towards the ceiling, planting hands on either sides of the hips to help find length through the spine, then relaxing back to neutral. Bend the knees, planting your feet on the mat, and place your hands on the back side of your thighs so that you can find your back flat to the mat. Separate your feet to mat with distance apart, let the knees fall together, and place one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. Take a few moments of breath here. Starting to turn our attention inwards. Taking note of any thoughts that are passing through. Straighten your legs onto the mat. And draw the right knee into your chest for wind relieving posture, interlacing the fingers, holding a few inches below the knee, flexing both feet. As you inhale, fill the belly up like a balloon. As you exhale, draw the thigh close to body. If you start to feel any discomfort on your knee, you can hold on to the back of the thigh instead. If you'd like to add a little more sensation for the hips, draw the knee out towards right armpit, still drawing thigh close to body. On your next exhale, release your hold, returning leg to the mat. Inhale as you draw the left knee in towards your chest, interlacing the fingers. Exhale to draw the knee close to body. Take another inhale, filling the belly like a balloon. Exhale, drawing the thigh maybe a little closer to the body than before, but don't push it. Always listen to your body. Feet are flexed. And if you'd like to bring a little sensation to the hip, knee draws out towards the armpit. On your exhale, release your hold, returning leg to mat. Then drawing both knees into the chest, feet side by side. You can interlace the fingers and hold below the knee or on the back of the thighs, whatever is most comfortable. We'll take a few breaths here. You can maybe rock side to side if that's comfortable for you. Lower your arms down to the floor at shoulder height, palms face up towards the ceiling. Let your knees fall to the right into reclined spinal twist. Knees are in line with the hips, and head turns to the left. If you're feeling any pinching in the back, lower the knees away from the hands. And bring your attention back to your breath. This is our last pose before our final resting pose. Perfect time to close the eyes and start to turn that focus inward. Inhale as you draw the knees back to the center of the body. Then exhale as you lower knees to left into spinal twist and head turns to right. Slowly draw the knees back to the center of the chest and hold on to the legs one last time. Lift your head to meet your knees. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. Hold it at the top. As you exhale out through the mouth, release the hold on your body so that you can lay flat on your mat. Close your eyes. Spread your legs and arms nice and wide. Take up as much space as you can. Let the toes fall away from one another. Take another deep breath in through the nose, and as you exhale out through the mouth, let everything go onto the mat. The mat is there to support you and to help us get rid of things in our life we no longer need. Relax the muscles around the brow and the eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Follow every rise and fall of your chest. And as you inhale, imagine that a white light is surrounding you. A white light of protection from negative energy and anything that'll bring you down. Slowly start to deepen your breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Welcome movement back to your body. And gently roll over to the right side of your body and take a moment of stillness on your side. Then whenever you're ready, keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, slowly press yourself up into any comfortable seated position. If you're still moving, that's perfectly fine. Just keep an open ear. As always, to finish class, we'll take 3 cleansing breaths together as one, breathing in through nose, exhaling out through mouth. We're taking a 3-part breath today. So inhale is broken up into 3 parts, filling belly, then ribs, ending with the chest. And we break the exhale into 3 parts, releasing from the chest, then the ribs, ending with the belly. Let's all start on an exhale, releasing all the breath we have from the body. Drawing breath into the nose, filling belly first, then the ribs, filling chest. Exhaling from the chest, from the ribs, and from the belly. Breathing into the belly for 2, breathing into the ribs, into the chest. Exhaling chest, release the ribs, and release the belly. Last breath, filling up the belly as much as you can, filling the ribs, filling the chest, filling the chest. Exhaling from chest, from ribs, and from belly. Take a moment to thank yourself for taking this time for yourself and getting on your mat. I'd like to thank you as well for letting me lead you on this practice. There is a light that exists within me that honors and respects the light that exists within every single one of you. Thanks so much for practicing with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, a new version of this class is aired every Monday at 8 a.m. If you're looking for something a little more challenging, I do teach a core yoga class that is released every Wednesday at 8 a.m. It's structured much like this class, however, I toss in a lot more core targeting work. I think it's a lot of fun, but it can be a little difficult too. Other than that, I hope you try out the other classes we have. I hope to see you next week and enjoy the rest of your day.